Stop video.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm gonna start with this. Okay. So, sir, can we start our program, sir? With your due permissions, sir? We can start? Very good evening to all the distinguished speakers present over here, and a very good evening to all my seniors and colleagues. A warm welcome to all of you to this FDP program. Before starting this FDP program, I want to quote some lines. A good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. So how to be a good trainer, a good teacher? What are the essential qualities a good teacher or a trainer should have? To focus on this perspective, a faculty development program, Train the Trainer, has been organized by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata, in collaboration with Kolkata Cost and Management Society. To speak a few lines about Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata was started in the year 2000 under the aegis of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan as a promising Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, MACAUT. Our MBA program is affiliated to the MACAUT and is approved by Development Government of India and
Hello.
Technical Education's Government of West Bengal. Our institute conducts a 2-year MBA program and 3 years BBA program on a regular basis. To speak a few lines on Kolkata Cost and Management Society, which has started its journey on 1st October 2019 with permission of West Bengal Society Registration Act 1961, with objective to aware the government where unused or underused resources are there and subsequently effective utilization of that as well as capacity building of society meanwhile. It is a 7 members body where president is Shri Hari Chava and secretary is Shri Manas Kumar Thakur along with other governing body members. The registered office is situated in Belgoria. The mission of the society is to develop innovative and ethical value of cost management and its application for capacity building and sustainable society. The vision of the society is to fostering excellence in cost management innovation in response to resource mapping and mobilization for the society. We are really blessed to have all the distinguished speakers on this common platform who are present here to enlighten us with their mesmerizing speech. Again, a warm welcome to all of you. We are commencing our program with lightening of lamp and Bhavan's anthem. beautiful anthem and lightening of lamp, we are commencing our program. Now, I am cordially requesting our Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Ramakant Patra, to commence the program with the welcome address. To speak a few lines about him, Dr. Patra has completed his graduation BA and post-graduation MA from Calcutta University. He has completed LLB, 2 years full-time masters in personal management and PhD in human resource accounting from Bhopal University. He has more than 12 years experience in different industries and 26 years in academics, including 14 years at National Institute of Technology, Bhopal. He has been recognized by Government of India for his incredible work and received grant in aid for his publication. I am welcoming you, sir. Please take the dais for the welcome address. Please, sir.
Very good evening to all the distinguished guests present over here and faculty colleagues present over here and one and all present over here. I, on behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science, Kolkata and Kolkata Cost and Management Account Society, extend very warm welcome to each one present over here. Thank you very much. We are having with us today Padma Shri Dr. Ajay Kumar Ray, Dr. Biswajit Ghosh, Professor Ashok Ranjan Thakur, Professor Sudhakar Panda, CMA Srihari Gupta, Srihari Chawa, sorry, and CMA Manos Kumar Thakur, all very distinguished persons. They have a tremendous experience in this faculty development program, and we are going to listen to them different tips about the faculty development programs. Let me first highlight on the objective of the program. The very theme of this program is train the trainers. We consider students are the trainees. During these 2 years of MBA or 3 years of BBA program, they are supposed to be a training mode. And we, as a teacher, are the trainers. But now, through different deliberations today, we will come to know what is the relationship between the trainee and the trainer. And we have to identify what are the gaps between the trainee and the trainers. And we will try to mitigate those gaps through these deliberations, which we are going to listen just immediately after my welcome address. Because today we are into the management education, and in this management education, we basically focus on classroom teaching. But those days are gone. Now, I think the teaching should be more based on innovativeness and creativity. And if we can inculcate this creativity and innovativeness through our delivery pattern, then it will be very attractive. What I want to mean that we have to identify the basic needs of the students, what they want, as well as basic needs, the expectations of the corporates. These programs are totally corporate requirement we have to fulfill. So what is their expectation from the fresh graduates or postgraduates? We have to identify these, and accordingly, we have to prepare our lesson plan and delivery plan accordingly. So, and second, my recommendation is we have to prepare individual student scorecard. Through this scorecard, we can identify where the student stands and where he or she has to go, and how to meet these gaps in between. And through these gaps, we have to give different training, like only classroom teaching is not going to solve the purpose. He or she may pass the university exams in a flying color, but he or she may not be able to crack a job or campus recruitment. So this thing we have to focus in our delivery pattern or lesson plan. We have to do it in such a way that students' needs are fulfilled and corporate expectations are also fulfilled. So that means our objective is to make the students, make them corporate ready material. What is the corporate expectation? So based on this thing, we have to inculcate the application-oriented delivery, creativity, innovativeness we have to bring, and first and foremost requirement is what the student needs, what is their expectation, and if we can inculcate these practices, I am 100% sure the classroom will be interesting and the students will not bunk the classes and students will be interested to join the classes. So this is my submission and I request our honorable guest today to highlight on this issue. And let me just point out one issue. We had one student development program on 24th of this month. And during the presentation of Professor Biswajit Ghosh, one student created some nuisance. Sir, I extend my apology for this and we have identified the student and we are penalizing the student. I promise that this thing will not be repeated. So I once again take the opportunity to thank you all, welcome you all for your presence, for your participation. And once again, on behalf of my personal behalf and on behalf of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Science and KCMS, I extend the hearty welcome to all, one and all present over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your welcome note. So we are proceeding towards the program. I am cordially requesting Dr. Sudhakar Panda, Vice Chancellor of Birla Global University. So before, sir, you take the dais, I want to say something as a respect for or as a gratitude towards you. Professor Sudhakar Panda completed his postgraduate studies in MA Economics from the University of Allahabad, where he stood first among the successful candidates in 1968. He joined teaching and retired as professor and head department of Analytical and Applied Economics, Utkal University, Bhubaneswar in 2005. Mr. Panda worked as a visiting professor of economics in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences in IIT Kharagpur. He worked as the director of Rourkela Institute of Management Studies, senior professor in KIT, and the adjunct professor in economics in Odisha Law University. Professor Panda was appointed as a member of the Second State Finance Commission, member State Farmers Commission, and the chairman and the Third State Finance Commission, Government of Odisha. He has been associated with a number of committees of the Government of Odisha. Professor Panda has guided 20 PhD scholars and 24 MPhil scholars. He has participated in number of national and international seminars in India and abroad. Professor Panda, who worked as the first Vice Chancellor of the Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar, has written 8 books, including storybooks in English. His recent book, Quest for Ignorance, has been well received by the readers. Mr. Panda was felicitated by the Honorable Governor and the Chancellor of Fakir Mohan University, Balasore in 2012 for his contributions to teaching and research. My hearty welcome to Sir to take the dais and enlighten us with your speech.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Well, yes. Hello, Dr. Patra. Dr. Patra.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir.
I'm audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are very much audible, sir.
I can start?
Please, sir. Please, sir.
I take this opportunity to thank the President of the Calcutta Management Society, the Secretary, respected Manas Kumar Thakur, and the distinguished principal of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Institute of Management Sciences, Calcutta, for inviting me along with other eminent speakers to discuss on an important issue that concerns the student of and the society. I'm happy to note, hello, I'm happy to note I think, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm happy to note that the KCMS and Vidya Bhavan, keeping with their traditions, objectives in mind, have been focusing on educational, social, and ethical issues, including today's issues, the issue of training the trainer. Given the pandemic, there could not have been better ways of promoting deliberations and interactions. Now, before I begin, let me quote Mark Twain. To succeed in life, you need two things: ignorance and confidence. Distinguished members, let me make a frank admission that I have more of ignorance on the subject of training the trainer and less of knowledge. But given the encouragement I have received from Manas Thakur and Dr. Patra, I have the confidence to speak and share my thoughts with you. Let me begin from the academics and let me then come to the end part of it by focusing on training the trainer. I think for any training or any to build up any trainer, academic vitality is the main ingredient to enhance the professional, educational competency of the faculty and students. Institutions should focus, if you want to build up leaders, on their basic academic activities, particularly in key areas where they have the competence or have been declared as advanced center of learning and research to contribute to teaching and research. Well, this is a very attending a well-developed activity as it is being organized today enables us to improve our teaching methods, our teaching strategies. Teaching the students with new materials, new methods, new findings may increase students' interest in the class. It may increase students' capacity of learning and observing teachings by the teacher. This is not enough. Good and effective teaching with examples may go a long way, particularly with case studies when you are talking of MBA, in improving students' problem-solving capacity. It is important that a technologically globalized world, universities, institutions should build up their academic collaborations and undertake joint research works in the areas of common interest, keeping at the center stage the interest of their faculty and students. Well, friends, it is not difficult in the age of internet for our teachers to make their presence and receive global appreciation for their good research and publications, which has its impact, in fact, very favorable impact on their teaching and on the standing of the institutions where they serve. Friends, we are living in a rapidly changing and increasingly global world, which makes it necessary that we impart relevant learning and skills to the students, and particularly to the MBA students, instead of concentrating on skills and methods that have become outdated. I understand the students who opt for MBA are brilliant, are very quick in observing things. And if the teacher wants to make the class interesting and retain his attention, well, he has to be different in the sense that he must teach in a way with examples that helps the teacher in finding their both placements in business, finance, trade, and commerce. Colleges and universities may organize, therefore, increasing academic interactions to increase their students' capacity to help them and help the students in their educational advancements, career advancement. Participating in FDP by the college teachers, which we are conducting today, makes them better teachers in the sense they're exposed to many new things, to better educators, to good researchers and scholars. Students, in fact, get the better of the teachers when the teacher shares the knowledge, the skill, the leadership knowledge, the skills to engage the students in scholarly activities and in their personality development. This gives additional responsibility to teachers and the administration as how to instill confidence, knowledge, learning, and alertness among the students. What we expect from our teachers' exposure is their ability to integrate technology into learning. You must today in the world of technology integrate your technology into learning, teaching, and research. For this, the students know it better. We have to master new computer-based education programs. We have to be technology savvy. Activities here identified should be undertaken in colleges and universities to contribute to the professional development and growth of the students and the teachers. And this will help them in their participation when they face interviews, when they face the boards for job placements. Definitely, the education that we impart in our universities, in our educational institutions, is to empower our students, including MBA and other students, empower them with knowledge, sense of duties, with their responsibilities, and to make them aware of the happenings in the world market. What is happening? What is happening in finance? What is happening in business? What's happening in trade? What is happening in the internet? How it is developing? And how 5G has made things smoother each year. Because all these things will help the students to acquire, to acquire the expertise they need at a faster rate than before. So we should prepare the students for skill-based training, for job assignments, and the new responsibilities which come their way. I know that at some times we may be in some type of confusions. The teachers may be in confusion. We may be in some uncertainties and chaos, particularly at a time like this, the pandemics. Well, we don't know what is going to happen next. And therefore, there is a lot of uncertainties in our mind. But one has to show leadership and manage through chaos and risk, which is happening today. And this leadership has to be provided to the students by the college, by the professor, by the administration. And students must be taught how to navigate themselves in times of crisis and capture the opportunity to develop their insights. In fact, teachers need to refine their knowledge continuously. In fact, to pass this on to the students. And they have to know what is happening in education technology, fields technology, medical technology, and other areas in the academic world, so that they become better, more effective teachers in the class, and the students listen to them, learn from them, and become serious about their studies. See, they have to create a climate of research. The institutions I'm talking of, they have to create a climate of research for and development. Why research? Because unless the institution, the teachers, they engage in research, they develop the research, well, they will not be knowing what is happening, and they will not knowing how to link themselves to the world which is changing very fast. Now, similarly, when you are teaching your students, the first thing that a teacher should do, and which the student looks forward, how the teacher manages his time. He has 40 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe 1 hour. So it is important that he should make all the students to understand the value of time by being punctual, by being sincere, and in coming to the class in time, and teaching the students and taking their inputs in the class for better teaching in the next class. As I say, and you will believe, this profession of a teacher is a noble profession where every teacher should learn how to use time judiciously for a successful career. And this knowledge has to be passed on to the students. In fact, the sincerity, commitment, and the knowledge which the students learn from their teachers, learn from the institutions, are very much required for them to, when they are placed in companies, manage their time, use their time effectively, and use every step which they take in their professional life, very successful for effective planning, setting goals, objectives, and they should also know how to have judicious delegation of duty and responsibility. These are the things which the students must learn from their teachers. And this is how the value of time, that is very important for an MBA students, because he has, in fact, a very packaged time. The begin, this is the time, this is the class, this is the test, you can't deviate. You can't deviate, and absolutely there is no scope for deviation. So you have to follow it, and there is no scope for diversion or deviation. Similarly, the teacher must tell the students how to set their goals, goal setting. Well, what is your short-term goal of the students? What is their medium-term medium-term goals, and what are their long-term goals? Now, these things must be made clear to the students. We say in a short period, we all live for a short period, and in the long run, we are all dead. That's a good quotation, good saying. But then you have to prepare for the goals which you have in mind. See, every student must have certain objectives, because when he is in the PG class, and particularly when he is in the MBA, particularly, he has to have certain objectives. Now, he must day and night prepare his time, his schedule, his classes. Nearer and nearer to the specific goals which he has set in his mind. So therefore, this type of awareness has to be created among the students, as how they must not indulge in time-wasting pursuits. I need not elaborate this point. Time-wasting situations, but they should know the value of time, keeping in view the goals which they have set for them at the end of the career or at the end of the college. Now, how to use time wisely for smart goals by segregating specific time to certain works, and to organize work in a systematic manner for an effective time management must be learned by the students in the college, and that is through the system which prevails in the college or in the university. He cannot deviate from the system, and the system does not operate keeping one person in view. It operates in a very impartial way so that the benefits go to all the students. So here he has to know the value of time by that he must be first and do the things. The first things must be done first, and he should be very particular about it. Similarly, nowadays we have massive open online courses which have become very popular in the field of education, especially higher education. It aims at providing quality education using the internet. And the book part is the key drivers in online delivery of the knowledge. Now, what I'm trying to say, that students in the college, well, there is now a paradigm shift. Now, students in the college must avail of all the opportunities that are available to know, to find out how he is preparing himself for the coming generation, for the coming things. Why? Because the time which he will be facing after the college is very uncertain, and he doesn't know what type of shape the time will take. So therefore, he has to prepare for a career. He has to prepare for the skill. He has to prepare the skills. He has to cultivate the ideas to adjust himself to the transformation of the societies which is taking place all the time. And this is something which is a great art for any student. And as you know, with the internet, with the advent of the internet and World Wide Web, the access to information has become very easy, and the entire world is moving towards digitalization. The 21st century students should learn in a global classroom, and in fact, they're doing it. They are learning in a global classroom and not confined to the classroom which we as students were. And they can know a lot of things by accessing the internet through their mobile phones and computers, or they can chat with the friends on a social networking site. These technologies are available, but it is all important as to how they're using this powerful technology and innovations for their improvement, for building up their career. And particularly, this is important for the students which opt for professional courses. So here I will say that the educators must understand the use of digital content and devices, which would improve teaching, learning, and thus enhance the educational opportunities, the benefits for the students. Now, as it is, we are dealing with millennial students. And how do you deal with these millennial students? Because the students or millennial students, they're the next generation students, the next generation students, you can say, far ahead of us. Now, they have a thinking the teacher is a service provider, and he is very much aware of the rights and his entitlements. So in today's world, teaching to the millennial students, when it's the next generation, which is very smart, competent, computer savvy, technology savvy, is a challenging task for the teachers, and the teachers need to be prepared for this. And therefore, the job of a teacher is very challenging in preparing students to become prepared for the things which are coming, but the things that will come are not known. We do not know what things are coming, yet we have to prepare for it. And this is your knowledge, competence, and it is your skill, it is your thinking, it is your navigating power, it is your way of your smartness in coming out of chaos that will help you. And this is how the students should learn. Similarly, leadership, which is an important character of teachers. Sometimes there is a crisis which the students face. Sometimes there may be crisis which the college faces. So here, when the students face the crisis, the teacher has to play the role of a leader, and he has to deal with the students, and he has to look into the aspects of the chaos or aspect of the problem, and the type of leadership which he can show. That is all on the teacher, and the teacher must be prepared to come out, take leadership, help the students, and encourage the students to do their work, particularly at times when there may be facing chaos or crisis in their career or in their studies. The another point which I want to make, which is very, I think, as a teacher, is important. Many students have negative attitudes. I don't mean any disrespect for the students, but it is the teacher how he should know to convert these negative aspects of the students into positive things. That is the best quality of a teacher, how he deals with the students and converts him into a forward-looking, for an enterprising boy after the class, or in the class or whatever the training. So high quality academic instruction therefore should be designed by the which should be appropriate for the students, which should be appropriate for the next generation students which are coming, and which will be giving them opportunity for thinking, for analysis, and for using feedbacks effectively. And this is where the teachers and the students, they must converge at some point, that your interest, students' interest, teachers' interest must converge. And that is where you have to be very careful so that you are improving, students are improving, you are becoming a part of students' life, and students also become a part of your life. This is how I look at my students. Now, coming to the training, the trainer, which was later on declared to be the sub-theme. No, as I have said, I am very ignorant about it. It is in the domain of political science management. But since I am here and I am a teacher, let me know something. Let me tell you something. As it has never been more important to understand the role of a trainer, which Professor Patra very elaborately enlightened by bringing the students, by bringing the teachers, and saying that every teacher leads the student and every student becomes a leader to lead his teacher. And to understand the role of a trainer and his training of the trainers. That is the role of a teacher in the words of Professor Patra, training the trainers who have to look at the needs and aspirations of the economy. A teacher has to train the students that he must know what is happening in the economy. What is the shape of the economy that is going to come? What are these areas of development in the economy which will be developing faster than the other areas? Is it finance? Is it trade? It is business? It is commerce? It is economics? Or is it some other thing? So the trainer, the teacher here has to play a vital role in the field of teaching, training, and skill development. What type of a skill you need? It's not enough that you read the textbooks and you get a degree. You have to have the skills. It may be computer-based skill, it may be accounting skill, it may be some other type of skill. The skill you have to develop to build your capacity, because the students have to build the capacity by acquiring the skills, not by acquiring the certificate. The skills and the understanding of your subject, which you can reflect on later on in life. No, that will help you in a challenging, in a changing world. And unless we adapt the strategy, and unless you adopt the innovative ways to train the students, because we don't teach the students the way earlier, you go to a class with a notebook and then, or with a book, or with a go and you start writing in the blackboard. We have to change, because the change is required. The change is what the students want from the teachers. The change is what will prepare for the will prepare the students for the change that they will face in an uncertain future. So the master trade, that is the teacher should have a passion. I believe the teacher must have a passion for his teaching, and he has to be a good communicator to pass on his competencies to the next generation of the students. The students, unknowingly or knowingly imitate the teacher. The qualities of a teacher unknowingly pass on to the students, and the students realize what qualities they should have learned from the teacher later on when they leave the institution. And to be a good trainer or a good teacher, he has to be faster because the world is moving fast. He has to be effective because unless he is effective, he cannot communicate with the new, generation of students. So the art of teaching, the art of training, the art of skill building, the art of in building the techniques for the students by the teacher, whom you can call the Professor Patra calls him the trainer. Yes, by the trainer has to be changing in a changing world. This is something which cannot remain constant. The art has to change, the techniques have to change. Why? Because the technology is changing. In a globalized world, nothing remains constant. So you have to change, and change becomes your acceptance of life. So they keep on changing and changing fast situations, I mean, changing fast. And and you have to adjust to the uncertain future. That confidence the teacher has to build in the student. Our teachers build that confidence in us. So we never broke down in any type of situation. We had to maintain our cool. We had to wait, the patience. And students must be appreciated for their patience, for their quality, for their ability to learn, for their zeal to receive training, for their inspirations be giving to the juniors. So you must also appreciate the teachers, and the teachers must have an appreciation for the qualities which the students have. So naturally, if you are heading an institution, you will have your own responsibility for the success of your students. That is, I am talking of principals. Principals have a responsibility for the success of their students. And the principal should know, I'm not having Dr. Patre in mind because he knows. He should know the changing scenario that is taking place in different fields of science and technology, arts and humanities. And he should know how to adapt his teaching methods, the teaching methods accordingly to ensure the success of the trainees, the students, and who require the skills for the assignments that Industry 4 is going to give them. Similarly, the principal or the vice chancellor, while doing his job, must maintain high quality ethics that cannot be compromising about it. He must have the proven ability and the mastery in the field to lead his group and instill confidence in the students, in the faculty. We were talking of this training. So if you are thinking of the students must be exposed to have industrial exposures. So that is why collaboration between academics and industry is becoming increasingly important. So any principal or any leader of the institution must know how the benefits of such collaboration between the academy and the industry are given to the students. And I think I've taken more time than I should have. I think with these words, I put an end to my deliberations. And once again, I thank you. I thank everybody for the opportunity you have given to me, because I was a little not reluctant. I was a little nervous as to what I should speak when you're talking of training the trainer. But Professor Patra made it easier when he said the trainer is nobody than the teacher, and the trainer is nobody than the students. And so he instilled that confidence in me. Otherwise, I was a little nervous as to what should I speak on a topic which comes in the domain of management. Thank you, Professor Patra. Thank you, Manas Babu. And thank you, President Jiwhaji. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring speech. We will definitely try to put your words in practice. So thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to take the opportunity to invite CMA Dr. Sri Hari Chava, President of Kolkata Cost and Management Society, for the theme address. Before sir address the session, I want to speak a few lines about him. Currently, he is the president of Kolkata Cost and Management Society since 2019, possessing broad experience in all aspects of management information systems, accounting, and financial management. His doctorate from Nagpur University in the year 2002 and also received DLit from Nagpur University in the year 2020. He has incredible work in the field of publications. He has written many books which has providing value to our society. So I like to take the opportunity to invite him on this platform to enrich us. Sir, please take the dais.
Thank you, madam, for such nice words. I wonder whether it is me. Namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Dr. Ramakant, CMA Manas Babu, Padma Shri Dr. Ajay, Dr. Biswajit, Dr. Sudhakar. Sir, it is always a pleasure to hear you. You have made a nice beginning. Our opening batsman has scored over a century. And Dr. Ashok Ranjan, good evening. In order to be audible better, I am muting my video. Friends, it was about 30 years back. I was on phone negotiating a professional deal for acquiring some shares of a particular company. I was sitting in Nagpur, the other person was in Chennai. We were discussing for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then suddenly the other gentleman said, "Are you into academics?" I said, "Yes." "Do you teach in such and such management institution?" I said, "Yes." "Are you Chava, sir?" I said, "Yes." "Sir, the deal is closed. I am your student." This is the beauty of being a teacher. And friends, let us remember, a good teacher is that personality who inspires, influences, and impacts the career of students and disciples. Let us remember Acharya Drona. Acharya Drona converted Arjuna into a Savaschachi, that is the best archer of the universe of that time. Latest, Gurudev Ramakrishna, he molded Narendra into a world-renowned Swami Vivekananda. The same time, we should also remember the academic acumen of the students and recruits are converted by the corporates into professional application. This is where the training needs of these management students play a huge role. Therefore, I am in the know-how that some of the American universities, they tie up with Japanese industries. The Japanese industry, because of the time difference, Japanese industries pass on the problem to the American universities and ask them for a solution. and by the time they open out in the next day morning, they have a solution from the universities. That is how the students and that is institute industry interaction and involvement take place across the continents. And that has been the need of the hour. That is how they have been growing. And let us remember that change is the need of the hour. Therefore, training is the perpetual need to keep our proficiency being sharpened on a continuous basis. Therefore, prepare for this training, take advantage of this training, train the trainers is the need of the hour. At the same time, we should observe due discipline and decorum throughout the program. Let us also remember the story of two woodcutters who were employed somewhere in California for cutting the wood. One woodcutter got 2-3 increments immediately after the year is over. The second increment, the second woodcutter could not get an increment even after 4 years. So second fellow went and asked them, why is that I'm not getting increments? So your output is less. So why is he getting more increments? He's cutting 100 trees per day, whereas you continue to cut 25 trees per day. Find out the trick from him. The first woodcutter went to the second woodcutter and asked him, what are you doing? I spent 9 hours in sharpening my axe and 1 hour in cutting the trees. So sharpen the axe every day. That is, keep yourself trained every day. Prepare for 4 hours for delivering a lecture of 1 hour. Thank you, Jai Hind, and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for your mesmerizing speech. We are very grateful to you. Your words, we will definitely put it into action. So now I took the opportunity to invite Padma Shri Dr. Ajay Kumar Rai, ex-director of IIEST Shivpur. Before sir handed over the session, I would just like to say 2 to 3 lines. He has just joined JIS Institute of Advanced Studies and Research as its director after his retirement as Professor of Electronics and Communication Engineering at IIT Kharagpur. He was a liaison from IIT Kharagpur and joined Bengal Engineering and Science University Shivpur as its Vice Chancellor with effect from 1st March 2009 on liaison. Prior to this assignment, he was a professor of electronics and electrical communication engineering and head of School of Medical Science and Technology at IIT Kharagpur. Professor Rai had his bachelor degree from Bengal Engineering College.
I think that these are not required. No? Yeah. So let's, time is short.
Okay. Okay, sir. You can start for the session, sir.
Yeah. So very good evening to all of you, members of faculty, management, and also the teachers, students of this great institution, and my very esteemed and revered co-panelists. And obviously, Mondira, for your very kind introduction. In fact, I must say that Professor CMA Manas Kumar Thakur, he organizes lots of such, webinars, seminars, and at very regular intervals, whether it is from the Institute of Cost and Management or now from this great institution of this Bharatiya, this Vidya Mandir. The important thing is, it is extremely important that such kinds of seminars where very eminent personalities like, say, Professor Ashok Thakur or Professor Vishwajit Ghosh, my very good friend, Professor Patro, so they are constantly, giving talks in such forums. I would not say much because already I think that we have covered, we have taken a lot of time. And today, somehow I was right from the morning, I was not feeling very well. Mainly because of the fact that so many, news of severely affected corona patients, COVID-19 patients started reaching. And many people, they still feel that, okay, I know a lot of people in the higher ups since I was the vice chancellor, director and all. So many people who do not have access to the, power, corridors of power, they usually, approach me and they say that, sir, if you can do something, no bed, no hospital, no oxygen, nothing. Not only here, even in Delhi. In Delhi, currently, three of my known people, they are stranded and they are absolutely, their, oxygen saturation level has come down to, in one case, it was less than 80. In another case, it was 63. It came down. I do not know how is this patient. So this is a pathetic situation. Just a couple of minutes back, I came to know that this gentleman was known to me from my IIT days, Professor Chaudhuri. So he was the principal of Heritage Institute of Technology. So he has expired. He was fine and he took his flight about a month back. Very hale and hearty, no physical problem. And he went to Bangalore for a checkup of his son in Niemann's. So the whole family, they were affected by COVID. He was hospitalized, and after 20 days, Fortis Hospital, one of the best hospitals in the city, he had to, he was there, and then today morning, he has expired. So situation is so bad, and we are so helpless. And such situations have never come. My point is, when we talk about training the trainers, that our students today, since my previous speaker, he had talked about the uncertainty in the days to come. And this uncertainty, it will keep on increasing. In fact, in the laws of physics, we say that the entropy will keep on increasing. Uncertainty in today's world in every sphere, because it has started with healthcare and it's not going to go just like that. It will continue for many, many years. A lot of such problems will come in the future. Obviously, this will have a cascading effect on the other sectors of life, on economy, on the livelihood issues, on your job issues, and on education. For more than 1 year now, the students, they haven't seen their classrooms, and a completely new kind of environment, which is an artificial environment of online teaching, that has been imposed on our students. And naturally, we the teachers, we have been forced to, sort of get ourselves acclimatized in this environment. The situation and the teaching and learning is that the future, every time, always future was uncertain. But this uncertainty, it will now keep on rising. And the most important point is that it will come to a level where the first thing the teacher should know, and in the form of teaching the students, that the students, they should not, lose all their hopes in whatever way it is. For example, as I said, that the cascading effect of this COVID-19 only, it will have tremendous impact on your job. It will have tremendous impact on so many people's, livelihood. They cannot Because anytime if there is a lockdown, then what do? You can't do anything. So there are problems. Now, the first thing that has to be, sort of instilled in the mind of the students is to have a positive thinking. That come what may, we know that the world is not going to end tomorrow. Come what may, we know that we are passing through a tunnel which is absolutely dark tunnel. But the teachers, first of all, the trainers, they should be absolutely confident that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And a tunnel cannot be infinitely long. So, if not today, tomorrow, or maybe that after few months or after few years, situation is going to be much better and it will brighten. And for that, what is needed is the belief and faith in science. This is the second thing. Whatever the teacher does to his student, he himself should be absolutely convinced that the problems that we are facing today, much of it can be solved by applying science, by applying a creative mind, by applying your logic. So this is one of the things that the students, they must be taught. The second important thing to be taught to the students is that today, as we used to say that the whole world is spherical, now we say that the world is flat universe. In the parlance of the management people, they say that, okay, it's a flat universe where everybody has got, or majority of the people, they have got a flat, kind of an opportunity. Now, it is partially true, not fully true, but it is partially definitely true. So, what is important is to understand that the world, for solving any of the problems, we need to understand and we need to train our students that they must be united in their approach. And united, this term comes with another such very important concept, that is, they must understand that we need an integrated approach towards solving the problems. Integrated means, what is integrated? Integrated means they must understand that life and the world tomorrow, for solving the problems, we need an interdisciplinary approach. There is no problem which can be solved only by a physicist or a chemist or a mechanical engineer or a computer scientist or an electronics engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a management person. No. For every solution for tomorrow, we need to have a basic understanding, and that is the solution lies in understanding that we need an integrated and interdisciplinary approach to solve the problem. Let's take the case of even COVID. COVID, for solving them, you can just see that how many disciplines are now involved in tackling this problem. Number one is understanding the virus, which is a very important part of those who are studying microbiology or molecular biology. Professor Ashok Thakur is there. He's an expert in these areas. We need to understand the genomics, that is how the DNA structures of such, virus, or even there may be very difficult kind of bacteria, fungi. So how to tackle them? And then, how to take care of the genetic structure of the different kinds of animals and especially the human beings. How the gene is getting mutated. And it is because of this huge number of, this current one, the major problem is that it is affecting the new strains, they have got tremendous virulence and infectivity. It infects others like anything. And since it infects, more is the infection. Remember that tomorrow again we will have several varieties of stains. How to solve that? So we need the experts, the scientists who understand them. We need, the people who will be accordingly developing the different kinds of medicines, the vaccines. And it cannot be done only by one discipline. We need to understand that for doing it, even for understanding the genetic structure, we need huge amount of computer science. We need very fast computers which can do it. This particular virus, it has got only 10 proteins. Imagine that a very small virus, it has created havoc throughout the world. And we are unable to contain it. Even whatever is the anti-vaccine which has been developed, again tomorrow the mutation is coming in a big way. So naturally these antivirus, these vaccines may not be effective. So what's going to happen? That today there are, for example, lot of situations where the medicines, people have taken so much of antibiotics. So antibiotic resistant diseases are coming in a big way. TB, antibiotic resistant TB was a big problem, challenge. Even if you give them the medicine, it's not going. That means what? That means these bacteria, virus, they are constantly evolving. So the students have to understand that this world is an evolving world. It is the evolution, which is the most important concept today. Evolution at every phase. Scientific evolution, the technological evolution, everything is evolving. The conceptual evolution. For example, whatever were the concepts yesterday, they are evolving, they are changing, they are adapting, and we are having new kind of concepts. So this is the fourth important thing that the trainers must know, that we need to inculcate and to tell the students that this is what it is. In fact, this particular thing, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, almost 100 years back, in his very famous poem, Chitto Jetha Bhayashunno, Mukto Jetha Uchcho Jetha Shir. So in education, we need this. Just remember, each line is so important. Chittoke bhayashunno hote habe. You have to have a mind which is fearless. What we are teaching? We are teaching, or we are indirectly getting from the society and from everything, je chittoke bhaya shunno koro na. Always have fear. All of us, we have fear. People are not coming out. There's so much of injustice everywhere. And people are scared even to talk about that. So, chitto jetha bhaya shunno, uchcho jetha shir. Where are the people who can stand tall? শির উচ্চ করে যে বলতে পারবে জ্ঞান যেথা মুক্ত is very important. The wisdom, the knowledge, এটা মুক্ত, this is free. যেথা গৃহের প্রাচীর আপন প্রাঙ্গণ তলে দিবস সর্বরি বসুধারে রাখে নাই খণ্ড ক্ষুদ্র করি। That is, আমরা কি করছি, what we are doing, is we are constantly partitioning this whole space of knowledge. You have one big room, we are putting a partition, making it 2 rooms. We are saying that these two are two specialized forms of knowledge. Each of them is again getting divided. So if you just see that whatever is true in our society, that partitioning is a very, very wrong concept. That's why Tagore always used to say, the space of knowledge cannot be partitioned. It has got an infinite domain and they are all interrelated. We need more specialization. But then remember that each one of these compartments, they are dependent on other compartments. So this is a very important concept. Gyan jetha mukto. Firstly, the knowledge should be mukto, free. Jetha griher prachir, that is your house, you have got a boundary of the house. Apon pranganotole divasho shotbori, in my own courtyard, from morning to evening, বসুধারে করে নাই খণ্ড ক্ষুদ্র করি. We are just partitioning, making it smaller and smaller. So this is very important. And then this kind of knowledge in different forms have to be given to the students. It is extremely important. I'll just tell you, say, some of the very important concepts. I am a teacher of electronics, and I did work in the area of, if you just go to specialization wise, I was working on machine intelligence. I used to work on, pattern recognition, image processing, and then I used to work on industrial control system. Now these are all on one side. And suddenly in IIT Kharagpur in 2001, we decided that was the golden jubilee year of IIT Kharagpur and the entire IIT system of India. Because IIT Kharagpur is the father of all the IITs. We started in 1951, so in 2001, we completed our golden jubilee, 50 years. So on that year, Dr. Kalam, he decided that, okay, we should have, he was a very important member of the committee. A committee was formed to find out that what should be done on the 50th year about our future programs. And then we decided, and we became the first institute in India to start a school of medical science and technology. And imagine that I used to do a little bit of work on medical image processing, but then I was not a doctor. I have never studied, biology any seriously, because during our time we used to do more of mathematics and mechanics in school days, and then studied engineering. So when the director, he said that, Professor Rai, you have to take the lead and you have to become the head of this school. I said that, look, I am not the right person, and how can I? So he said that, no, you are working on, medical imaging, which has got some. So, and our students were all MBBS doctors, imagine. And then our students were with MD degree, with MS degree, they were coming. So gradually and then it was a course. For the first time in India, we started Masters of Medical Science and Technology. So you have to have new ideas about how to integrate. This is important. Here, technology and science, basic science, is integrated with medical science. So that becomes a new kind of a course. And the students, they were taught the basics of, medical physics, the biochemistry. They had to even, study mathematics, which is so important, biophysics, which is so important, biochemistry, which is so important, electronics they had to study, computer science they had to study. So it was a 3-year course. Full 1 year they had to study the fundamental and important things of engineering and science, which they were supposed to study. And imagine that they liked it so much because they said that as doctors, we did not know so many things. The world is so beautiful that we can think in this way. As a doctor, after doing MBBS or MD or DM, we never thought in these areas, in these lines. Similarly, as engineers, we also started learning. So it was a learning in a cooperative environment. And I still remember that every day at 4 o'clock, we used to have a seminar. So some doctor student will go, and not only doctor student, we started for doctors this program. We also started for engineers programs on medical imaging, then medical instrumentation. So we started programs on, the biostatistics. So naturally, mathematicians were involved. So amongst our faculty, imagine we had say, statisticians, mathematics, physics, we had mechanical engineers, we had electronics engineers, computer scientists, then, the doctors and, different biological sciences streams. So it's an interesting thing, and all of us, we tried to understand the fundamentals of life, starting with the cellular technology, the fundamentals of cell, biological cells. From that point onwards, for the development of cancers and how the solutions could be found out. So together we learn. So this togetherness is very important, which the teachers have to tell to his students that, look, this is the era where you must understand that togetherness is extremely important. Unfortunately, to become a good leader, one must understand that we must be together, united. And once you become united and you can have an integrated level of understanding of the problems of the society. Not only that, when we started, for example, our business management, our management school, in fact, it is known as Vinod Gupta School of Management because Vinod Gupta had given the initial money for starting this school, which is now one of the top 10 business schools in the country. I think it's last year's ranking was 6th in India, higher than many of the IIMs. So there also, I have been telling them that, look, you cannot, involve yourself only with one area. I really admire Professor Manoj Thakur that when he used to come and he used to tell me when I was in Shipur, the need to have all the students, they must know the fundamentals of cost and accountancy is very true. I never knew much about, finance and all. When I became first the vice chancellor, so I told the committee member that, look, I do not understand anything. Frankly speaking, I'm farthest away from this cost and finances and all. So how can I be the vice chancellor without understanding? So they said that, no, this is a secondary thing. No vice chancellor or director understands that. Oh, automatically, you understand. So don't give much stress on it. But then that it is important that every engineer must study it properly because they are not divorced from the cost and management issues. So even many of the engineers, there may be one or two subjects on management issues, but then they are not serious about it. People know that, okay, they have to get the pass mark and then go out. But interestingly and importantly then, what is important in such situations is that we have to have an integrated coursework. Who will do it? The trainers. You have to ensure that how the different streams of knowledge in management studies, since it's a management institute and I'm talking to all those teachers who are with management background, I thought that, okay, let me talk a little bit about the management background. I do not know anything or much about management, excepting the fact that, okay, I had the opportunity to learn a lot of things during my 10 years of stay, first in Besu Shipur and then as the first director of IST Shipur. So I learned a lot of things on, but then this was only an academic management. So I was also involved with several industries and learned a little bit about the industrial management also. Not very much formally, but informally. So what your teachers will have to now understand is that the first of all, what they are supposed to do, not just simply, okay, I have been given this class and I have to take some few lectures, maybe 40 lectures, and then the course is over. So the whole mode of our education needs to be completely changed. In my opinion, it is also becoming outdated. Why? It is because of the fact that the outdated things are there and everybody is becoming smart. And this kind of mutation means, that means even the virus, bacteria, they are getting smarter. They are also smart today. In some sense, they are becoming smarter than us. We cannot just catch them. We cannot do anything. Imagine that a small virus is becoming so smart. And it's true. And that is because they have to understand, our students, that look, the situation will come in such a way in front of them. And when the leadership goes to them, to the management, they will be facing with very odd situations and they have to solve the problems. So in my opinion, it is the art of understanding the problems. It is the art of the understanding the solutions of the problems. Conflict resolution is so important, and most important is empathy. That is your love for the people. Without empathy, no one can become a good manager. You may be a brilliant person in your own way, but then you must have enough of empathy. You must have enough of love. You must have enough of sympathy for those who are not getting what is due to them. So I'm sure that in the days to come, this institute, under the great leadership of CMA Bawa and CMA Professor Manoj Thakur, they will, and all the faculty members, I must congratulate all of you, that you will be turning it into one of the best institutes of management in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very much delighted to your speech. We are very much grateful that you have found some time to inspire us through this speech. So thank you so much, sir. Next, I am inviting Professor Dr. Vishwajit Ghosh, the Vice Chancellor of Neotia University. Professor Dr. Vishwajit Ghosh is the Professor of Energy Engineering and Dean of Engineering Sciences. Professor Ghosh received his MSc degree in physics from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and PhD and Doctor Engineering from Jadavpur University, Kolkata.
I think you can skip this. You can skip this. More than it's fine. I used to at the time not for the introduction.
Okay, sir.
Because
Okay, no
basically my
issues.
introduction. and yeah.
Definitely, sir. So, sir, you please proceed. We are welcoming you so that your speech will show us a new direction in our teaching mode. Thank you, sir. Please.
Actually, Dr. Dey, if you can, yesterday's lecture, I am not able to finish because, the students are scouting.
Definitely, sir. Yes,
So,
yes,
but,
please.
I have tried to convincing them what is the role of a teacher, that what teacher can do,
Yes.
right? And I have presented a mathematical model that what is the relationship between teacher and students, right? But what
Yes,
is
sir.
my main intention today? I have some 102 slides, whether I can to build up a leadership, how to develop a leader, whether it's a political leader or it's a social leader or a group leader, something like that. But I don't know whether I'll be able to finish. I will try my best. But before that, I want to tell some of my experience in the life because I am fortunate to work all over the world, honestly speaking, all over the world. I was the advisor to the United Nations and was assigned for work with 7 countries in West Africa, very, very poor countries. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Liberia, Syria, Senegal, Rwanda, Bosnia, and 3 countries in Central Asia, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan. And therefore, I was also involved with many, industries like Imami. I was in the board of Imami. I was Management Group. So many places I work. I know the experiences from industry, institution, and I met the many people of the world. And one of them, I am telling Sir John Bannister Goodenough, who got the Nobel Prize in last years, right? And I just like to share one of a statement that what is research? I mentioned that Professor Sudhakar Babu has mentioned that the teacher should go to research. Research is to, to see something which no one has seen and to think which no one ever thought. That's the research. We are thinking that way. Look at here. You see that when a cow dung has fallen down in a road, if it stay there, the lot of mosquito, the flies and come out, they create the problem. But look, a village lady took that cow dung, dissolve in a bucket of water and paint her floor in the room as well as in the courtyard. What is her impression? Her impression that cow dung is sacred, but she doesn't know what benefits she is getting. The first thing, it is alkaline nature, so it will affect the virus and the bacteria. They are not allowed to do it. Second thing, you are dissolving the cow dung in the water and painting in the floor surface area is increasing. When the water get evaporated, it will absorb the latent heat from the floor. The floor become a cooler. Third thing, the cow dung has come out from the straw and other things which contain calcium silicate, and it was rubbed with calcium silicate, so it is increasing the wear and tear resistance of the floor itself. So the cow dung which was fall down in a road, creating the mosquitoes or the flies, something like that, when you designate, you get another very good important aspects, that 3 or more aspects which can help you in better way. So knowledge, if you can keep the knowledge, ideally it become a devil's workshop, but you spray it, you will find that it will bring out many things. Leadership, to develop the leadership, will do things. Now, quoting from one of the aspects that I'm also telling, that when I was in Imperial College London, I was assigned to before assigned to the PhD, the guide of the PhD. I was faced a committee called the Research Degree Council, and they first asked me, "What is a thesis? What do you mean by thesis?" I give them the example of thesis, and I ask, "What is the best thesis?" This is the Bhagavad Gita. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, you will get everything from leadership to manager to everything. And Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, right? Kurukshetra war was for 18 days. And to my analysis, each chapter is giving the description of the war of the everyday. So we are all in Kurukshetra. We have to fight it. And if you look at the first chapter, Arjun is repressed, called the Vishad Jog. And he's telling Krishna Maharaj that I will not participate in the war. Why? He told, look, in the other side, there's 11 troop, and my side, there is a 7 troop. In 11 troop is controlled by my guru, my father, Vishnu Maharaj, my guru Dronacharya, and my cousins. And this sides, they're controlled by my son Vibhuno, my son, brother-in-law Srikondi, and others. I don't know for whose favor and whose against I will fight. He's not finding the research question. And in Shankhojo, Lord Krishna told that neither you or nor me is the responsible for the war. Situation is responsible, right? If you die in the war, you'll go to the heaven because it is a decree of a Kshatriya. And if you won in the war, you will fulfill the promise of your forefather Shantanu Maharaj to Mother Ganga to give a undivided kingdom of justice. So you have no option. You have to do it. So the COVID situation, we are in the war, Kurukshetra. We are trying, frontline workers are trying. If they succeed, they can save life. It's immeasurable. And if they can succeed, there's nothing wrong because the life has come out, which is very uncertainty. So that's why then you move to Karma Jog, Gyan Jog, Sannyas Jog, go to, the Vishwarup Darshan Jog, 10 Vishwarup Darshan Jog, 15th chapter, Purushottam Jog, come to the 18th chapter, Moksha Jog, the summary discussion and concluding life of life. We have to follow all these things in our life. We have everything. We have the Karma, we have the Gyan, we have the Sannyas. Me, I analyze that life is completely filled with Bhagavad Gita. So let us start my presentation with some of the slides. I'm just, uploading, and please don't disturb me, particularly I'm requesting the students. I am trying to give you very good information on leadership, right? And this is my, slides. Do you hear, do you able to see it? Can you able to see it? It is visible.
Absolutely, sir. Everything is very clear.
Yeah, the perception on leadership, how to build up a leader, right? Leadership, according to the Peter Dulucy, the influence with authority. You can influence everyone, but not taking the authority. All successful endeavor, the result of a human effort, thus ability to influence the other, derivation of interpersonal communication, conflict management, and problem solving. Three things a leader require. Interpersonal communication is very much required for a teacher, I think so, that I have to interpersonal communication with the students and the teacher. Conflict management, sometimes students are, the problematic. Conflict, I have to manage the conflict. And if there's a problem, I have to solve the problem. So leader should have the three character: interpersonal communication, conflict management, and problem solving. Theories of leadership: trait approach, skill approach, style approach, situational approach, contingency approach, path goal theory, leader member exchange, transformation, transactionals, and the team leadership. Interpersonal efficiency means that you have to know develop the awareness, you have to develop the ability, you have to fulfill your commitment to all this. The leader should have to do these things. Just like it is a triangle structure, and it is based on the three things: awareness, ability, and commitment. And finally, you will get the effectiveness. So leader should have awareness, generate the awareness among the students or the teacher, because you have the colleague. If you are in a teacher, if there's a complaint for the teacher, you just correct your fellow colleague. Ability, you have to convince one. You have to commitment that I will finish the class in time, I will solve the problem in time, and it will bring an effectiveness. Awareness, perhaps you know the awareness, the state of consciousness, just to build up the mind, generate the mind, concentrate the mind, that you have to read it, you have to know it, you have to solve the problem. I am giving an example. When we are in the school, we want to take, what type of, the materials is there in a salt. We take all the things, which is known as the flame test. Platinum water, put the, rub the salt and put in the flame. And flame, there is a different color. If there is a copper, you'll get a big, green flame. If there are, strontium, big red flame. So flame, to me, conception that color is their speech of the, when you are putting in a one condition, very condition, they are telling agitation that, look me, I'm here, don't disturb me. Sometimes students, you have to convince the students and tell, look here, it is your requirement, you have to know it. Otherwise, how you will serve yourself, serve your country, say your nation, and your family. That's the important things. Ability to communicate, ability to resolve the conflict, ability to solve the problem, and make a decision. What decision you are going to take. Commitment is very, very important for a leader or a teacher. For a leader, one thing you might need one thing you make mention to the students or teacher, you have to complete that commitment. When you are a leader, you make a commitment to the society, or you are making to a family, you complete a commitment. In no win scenarios, one must still make a decision. This is the thing. Commitment. I'm copying this from the very good movie called The Brain. Very famous movie when we are the students. Movie example, it's untouchable. You cannot touch the movie. The moment of 3, Elliot Ness, Jimmy O'Neill asked, what are you prepared to do? Ness replied, anything I have to do, make the things right. O'Neill said, everyone knows where the problems are, but no one is willing to do anything. You said, you do anything, you had to make it right. Now I am willing to help you. You make your commitment. Go to, John Milton's Paradise Lost, same things. Go to our, mythology between the Kamdev, Roti, and, Tarukasur, same statement. Go to the novel, Ghore Baire, Nikhilesh, Amola, and Nikhilesh, Bimola, and the Sandeep, same things is happening. The commitment. Attribute of a leader, guiding the vision. Effective leadership know what they have to do. They have the strength, they have the character, and they have to pursue it to establish the achievable goal. This is my target, which was mentioned again in Mahabharata, Arjun. Because you know that I have mentioned the last time that Arjun has one of the students of Dronachari. He was trained by Dronachari how to hit the eye, and he was so effective, mention that Draupadi something to win, who win it because he hit the eye of a fish. So eye of a bird is a method for training an eye of a fish to win. In the student in the class, they have to train to develop how to hit the eye of the that bird. But in normal life, real life, you have to hit the eye of a fish to win Draupadi, which is fame, which may be anything. Attribute of a leader, passion is very essential because it's there for life guiding, right? Integrative. Professor Rai has mentioned, Ajoy has mentioned thing, integration. The integration. In mathematically, we represent integration by elongated s with fx into dx. What is the meaning, Meaning is interdependency between the function and the variable. Teachers are the functions and the students are variable. Teachers may come, teachers may do, go, and teachers, students may go, may come. And if you don't make an interdependency between the function and the variable, it cannot make it perfect. In the country, the peoples are variable, the leaders are variable, but function is the nation. Nation depend on the leader depend on the nations. If you don't bring that interdependency, a nation can be integrated. That's the thing. Mathematically, we are representing it, but physically, this is the thing. Philosophically, honesty. Mind it is very much honest. Otherwise, if you don't pull the truth, you have to tell so many lies to manage the one lie. But if you are honest, if you take the truth somewhere, trust. Very, very important aspects. Effective leader can generate the trust from the follower. Look, Netaji, what trust he has, he has earned. Till date, people are saluting that leader. He is a leader to me. The trust. People can trust what Netaji is doing as good. Custody, that that leader is a learner. He can learn from this thing. Teacher is learn from the student. I teaching for the, since 1978, I learned many things from the students itself. Risk. Effectiveness, you have to take the risk. Sometimes research is the risk. If you get the positive result, very good. Negative result is also a result. But you have to take the risk. If you are positive, fine. Negative is that doesn't throw it, it is also killing. Dedication, very important. Whether it's a leader or a teacher, dedicated to the class, dedicated for the students, whether the student is learning or not. The leader to himself, herself, entirely task when it is necessary. Charisma, that's very important. I know my teachers in IIT Kharagpur, H.N. Bose. I know Amol Rai Chaudhary in Presidency College. I know Putul Chandra, what type of teacher they are. Still, I remember that I go sit under their feet and learn the semiconductor physics or chemistry or that astrophysics. Listening, leaders should listen. Teachers should listen. What the students' problem? And if we then drop them out, you cannot be accepted by the students at all. Listen to your follower. Leader versus leader. This is a very big difference. Boss versus leader, and leader versus manager. A leader, a person who is following the other leader. I follow the student. I follow my boss. I follow everyone. Right? Manager, a person controlling the administration, business, a part of business. He doesn't care for anyone because at the end of the day, he has to see ROI. What is ROI? A person regarded in terms of a skill household, financial and other management, right? The administrator. Leadership, what is leadership? Leadership is the ability to develop a vision that motivates the other to move without passing towards the common goal, right? This is the leadership, that you have to develop a vision. We are lack of leadership. Where the country will go? You know that we have a normally 3 axes, X, Y, Z, length, breadth, and height, but there is an axis called the time axis. And time axis represented by the ICT. I is equal to root of -1. C is the velocity of light and T is the time. If you multiply the velocity of light with the time, you will get a dimension of length. And this length is the image, time is an imaginary length. The past is hazy, future is dark. What will happen in future, I don't know. The present is light. You try to illuminate the present things such that the darkness of the future can get overcome. Right? Should think that yes, we learn, because why we read history? Because we learn mistakes from the history. What Siraj has made mistakes, he knows. So we will do this thing, learn from the mistakes. Management is the ability to organize the resources, coordinate the execution of the task necessary to reach the goal intensively, and the time of definition is coming out, because we are thinking about the industry institute partnership. I have a very bitter experiences in many industries. I have worked for the ONGC big project to develop anti-corrosive coating for them. I was in Southfield for a long time to see what is happening, right? Management, because if you look at the time definition, time academician is a dilated one, because academician is done by the to fill the truth. But in industry, time is contracted. He want to launch the product, he want to take out the money, he want always thinking about ROI. So we need a common definition of the time, both for the institution and the industries. Otherwise, you cannot integrate it. That I want that why they are not, why academician is not coming out to industry, or industry is knowing that we have a common definition of time. One time is dilated, one time is contracted. We have to match a common definition. Otherwise, you cannot make it industry integrated relationship. Management 6, stability and predictability, order, that you have to do it. Leadership 6, improvement through the change. It's a disorder. I'm thinking that way, that if there is a disorderness, so leader are always thinking that we have to change this thing, like this way. We have to change the opinion. You see our, that political system, sometimes what is the condition of the leader when they coming to the election, and how they have changed themselves when they are in power. Leader, do the right thing. Manager, do the things right. You see, presentation. That's the difference with the manager and the leader. Management and leadership skill. Leadership skill is a soft skill. It's not a hard skill. Because to convince the people, communication, motivation, stress management, very important. Team building, change in management. Sometimes manager hard skill, right? Scheduling, staffing, active analysis, and project control. The things they have to attribute: consider the alternative design, manager, the cost involved, establish the risk and organization, develop the schedule for the project, include the decision step, manage the change in orderly fashion, keep the team motivated and informed, review the responsibilities and the goal of each team player, state clearly the basis for the evaluation and where each person's fit their organizations. Monitoring the progress, set the direction, perform the administrative task, report to the senior management. Money and job security plays an important role in the management effective. Like, this is very, very important. Money and job security, right? They act as a, deficiencies of the motivator. Being a leader, if you want to be a leader, see this, everything that happens, your result as a situation that is under your control. That attribute to the convey that what you are judging on, what you will reap, your public corporate life. You are what you are thinking and believing. If you never meet a challenge, you never find a solution not worthy. Right for the leadership, take a control of your life. Mind is very important. Mind and life control. Assume responsibility for who are you. Convey the positive and dynamic attitude for everything you do. Accept blame. If there is a failure, you have to accept the blame. Learn from your own mistakes and others. Take the blame for everyone that is happening on your unit. Give the credit whoever is due. Don't think that you are taking the credit. If a small person has do the things, you have to do it. Be compassionate when you are reviewing your team members and progress or the lack thereof. Receiving a leader, great break, right? Turn disaster and opportunities, turn every obstacles into a personal trump. Determine your real goals, strive to achieve them. When you want to tell someone something important, do it personally. Take the fellow, tell them personally. Don't tell the everyone's presence because it can hurt his mind. He can go other way. Don't afraid to get your hand dirty doing the thing asked to other to do. Make a copy, something like that. Listen effectively. Encourage the teamwork and participation. Empower the team member. Communicate effectively. Emphasize the long-term productivity. Make a sound and timely decision. Treat each person as an individual. Know yourself and your team. Protect your team. Mind it. Leader. Have a vision, courage, and commitment. Holistic approach. Image from semblance, smile, metaphor, something like that. Image everything. You develop an image. Sometimes they represent in terms of mathematics also, just like at work and play. Do you want to the physics, something like that? They have given the example, or people think merely, the occupying the spot. It's universe. Are you a short person who waits someone else like that happening? Holistic communication. You are a personal career objective to identify the problem, create winning the solution. To lead effectively, inspiration and motivate. To be control in your world, you make things happen for you. To manage your personal resource effectively, to be president of your company, to be a millionaire if you are not already. The way you stand and sit indicate whether you are an open person, easily approachable, say whether you are friendly, tell other whether you could be good team player, such as what you are frank and honest, tell others what you really think for them, show whether you are a part of the team, that you are a part, you are not the boss. The way you dress, this body language, indicate yourself as a commitment, show how neat you are, suggest whether you are fit to the company's image, make a statement about whether or not you care for enough of this objective, show indirectly whether you are confident, whether or not you believe yourself. The way you write, you see, your dress, your write, convey other, you are warm and friendly, appear in cool, reserve, you are always in very smiling face. This is the quality of a leader. Tell whether you are dynamic or energetic, whether you are lethargic or passionate. Convey the image of your either intuitive or solving. Say whether you want to communicate with other or not. Say whether you try to avoid the conflict or seek it. Say whether you are materialistic or idealistic. Holistic approach. The conclusion: the communication is a holistic concept. Do something ourselves. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to choose your objective. You must be able to project the image that you are going to lead a success. You can change the way of your appearance to other by change your behavior pattern. If you want to change your behavior pattern, you may change everything about yourself. So what is the bottom line of your life? Because the students started their managerial kind from here, learning manager. You are control of your environment. You can make every setback an opportunity for a success. Anything that you can, whatever you want to be entirely up to you. You can become a person you want to be, dress like a person, talk like a person, and act like a person, write like a person, and that will be within you. Interpersonal scheme, that is a Swiss psychiatrist has mentioned, which is the type of personality, that introvert and the extrovert. And on the basis of this judgment, Catherine Brigg, her daughter, develop the things, a number of indicators and the 4 pair of references. Extravision, E, about 70%, expended energy, interact with the other freely. Introversion, type 1, territorial, about 25%, energy, conversion, read, mediate, and solve the problem. Extrovert behavior and the introvert behavior. Intuitive type, creativity, 25% ingenious, future-oriented, imaginative. Sensing, type S, practical, 75% experience-oriented, utilitarian, sensible. Do you see world in terms of your sense? Do you like to fact before you are starting the work? Do you like dealing with the details of a project rather than your overall plan? Right? Or do you thinking in terms of the big picture, in terms of the concepts or ideas, rather than your information involved? Put down your intuitive. Personal indicator of the type T, 50%, something personal, which are 60% of the human being, particularly male, they given according to that researcher. Feeling 50%, personal 50%, and 60% of the female, because they are very much emotional, the ladies are. Note, both type can react with the same emotional intensities. Do you intend to follow the rules regardless how you feel? You hide your feelings and get you within the job. That's the thinking. Right? Forget everything. The assignment that you have given, do it. Or do it inject the personal note to things do, even later let your emotion overtake sometimes. That's the feeling of behavior. Personal indicator, judging, 50% settled, decided, own way, plan ahead, agree, line, get it done. Perceptive type, 50% pending, flexible, adaptable, let it happen, open-ended, tentative, wait in the sea. Do you like to set up a schedule to meet the deadlines? Make it just a decision making. Like information, so your decision will be really, that's the perspective. There is a table indicator, thinking, feeling, intuitive type, introvert, extrovert, judging, perceptivity, and that we have mentioned the classification of the people according to psychiatric. Self-evaluation, leader should make, everyone should make self-evaluation. I think a teacher should make audit himself. I audit myself, what I do in the everyday, what I have done today. Take what is the personal type, take the test, be honest as you can. Can you only see the result? List answers on a chart. Do you concur? That's the question. Motivating. That is, Abraham Maslow, an American born psychiatrist, he has mentioned and he has given a lot of things. Motivating, self-actualization, estimating need, social need, like companies, acceptance, and the love to the fellow member. Safety and awareness, hug, psychological need, food, clothing, shelter, comfort, and the self-persuasion. Motivating, emotional support as leadership influences. Self-authorization, trust, esteem, leadership or autonomy. Belonging, team, security. Building a team, when you're going to build a team on your organization, when you become a manager or a leader, doing something not by themselves, then do. Enjoy more satisfying work life. More in control of their, making a contribution which are well used. Learn new skill that you have mentioned, the skill. Recognize there. What is skill? That's the question. We are always in the skill. What is skill? The skill is related to the technology. Science is out of something, but technology is out of nothing. When you have to overcome your problem, you develop your own technology. That's your skill. Suppose you have been closed, you have been kept in a room, and you have to come out. You have developed your skill. I have to break the window or do something. That's the skill. When you are in a problem, you develop your own thought, own significance. That will enhance your skill. Otherwise, it doesn't mix in the theory that is a skill. When a team is operating, well, the leader and the member are clear. The team members are committed to them. Feel ownership of the problem rather than blaming each other. Shared ideas. You are going to do it. Listen and show respect to each other. Talk more about we, less I and me. They're very important for a leader or a teacher. That we're thinking. understanding each other's know about, because sometimes I can make mistakes. When I am a rank of vice chancellor, I know how to tackle a private university. There is a problem. Everywhere there is a problem, right? Give each other help and support. Show appreciation and help received. Recognize and deal with the difference and disagreement. Encourage, develop each other team member. Are loyal to the group, its member and leader of the organization. Make a decision-based fact, not on emotion basis or personal basis. You take the ideas from everyone and take the decision. Play a variety of roles, serve as a leader, tackling the problem, or as a coach. What is coaching? Then question, we are giving the coaching, particularly, the joint entrance, something like that. The goal of a coaching is not provided the direction, but enable the team members to go together to help one another for finding the direction, right? Coaching is a foundation for continuous improvement. Coaching is a practical skill anyone can learn. Identify the opportunity to help someone. Coaching is a chance to help everyone, organizational team. Sometimes people may ask coaching, but you do not wait to that happen. Act opportunities for the coaching at any time. You coach your fellow members. Confirm that a person is ready for coaching. Before trying to coach, make sure the person is open to it. If just like a doctor and a patient, right? If a person seems hesitant, try to explain his benefit, but don't insist on the coaching someone who simply isn't receptive. To ensure win-win situation, find out if the person is willing to, before you're proceeding with the coach. Ask the questions and other information to help and clarify, right? Bringing the question, what, when, where, who, and how much. These are essential when you are coaching someone. Help the person to identify the possible action, offer guidance. He or she can develop a plan. Gain agreement and the course of direction. In the coaching, you can help someone to plan how to handle the situation to certain that result in a positive direction, right, or positive action. You need to gain the person's specific action. Offer your support, and coaching is not a quick fix or any short time. It is an extended relationship. Member growth and newcomer, trust, advice, provide. Transition, habits, coach, and encouragement. Independent, return on dependence means assets, self-initiative, negative, navigate and endorsed. Actions, coaching, supporting, and delegating. The 4 ways you can make a leader, you can run a company, you can develop your company. The direction behavior high and low. Conflict. I learned from that the novel, The Conflict, the issue, triggering event. The conflict has gone to the top level. Consequences will come, and the issue will come. You get a resolution. The resolution going. When the issue has come, the triggering the effect, the conflict, arises, and consequences will happen, and issue this thing. And the two things, emotional and conflict, is the behavior of the human being. Management, and it is given by one of the Kenneth Thomas and Rolf, developed the 5 model conflict handling model style. Situational approach. You have to go to situation, what situation you are facing, right? Supportive behavior, help the co-workers to feel comfortable about themselves, their co-workers, and their situation. Ask them for input, listening, sharing upon about yourself. 2 ways of communication, not only 1 ways, right? Direct behavior, help the group member, explain what to be done. 1 way of communication become. 4, situational approach, 4, the 4 leadership type, supportive, high directive, and low directive behavior. High supportive behavior, the supporting and coaching. Low high, supervive, and low directive behavior, delegating, high directive, and low supervive behavioring, the directing. 4 development level, low competence, variable competence, sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, and develop high competence or moderate competence, or developing a low competence to overcome the situational thing. Situational approach, not around ideas, that employees move forward and backward. It was coming from the union, when there is a union problem, how to control the situation. In a situation, the leader must first determine the nature of the situation. Leader ask him or himself the questions like, what is complex the task is? Are sufficiently skilled to complete the task? Pros, he stood the test time. More than 400, 500 companies are the 10 year progress. It is practical and the straightforward approach. It is flexibility and force to treat the subordinate at best of the task found. Cons, only few research studies has completed this approach. Not a clear connection between the commitment and the competency and how to be done. Who learn the task become a more competent, become less committed. Fail to take into account the chain of the demographic. Also fail to address how one leadership versus the group is taken into account. Should the leader match with a subordinate overall group? Situational leadership, a best questionnaire. There is a question, right? Assign the project to him or her. Let determine how will accomplish. Assign the task to him and see how he supervise. Assign the task to him or her and see what is needed. Assign the task and team you show to incorporate the suggestion. Now, the 4 conflict handling model: competing, collaborating, compromising, avoiding, and accommodating. Uncompromising, this way, unassertive and assertive. You have to think for the accommodating and collaborating. The Thomas Kidman conflict style: avoiding, accommodating, and competing, collaborating, and compromising, the middle group. Then when to avoid? When an issue will be trivial, when there is no chance to getting what you want. The potential for damage of a confrontation is great than the benefit of the organization. When you need to gather more information, whether the other can resolve the conflict or more effective. When you need a cool down, reduce your tension and regain perspective and composers. When you realize that you are wrong, when issue is much more important than the other person's, than you. When you need to future favor the credit, when the competition would be damage to the cause. When you need to develop the learn from the mistakes. When to compete, when quick decision necessarily. One important issue which is very unpopular, which is an unpopular course of action needed, implementing on issue vital group welfare, when you are know is right or not, when protection needed against the people who take advantage and non-competitive behavior. When to collaborate, both for the concern, when necessary test your assumption and understand the viewpoint of the your perspectives. When the commitment can increased, everyone go into the proposal. When there is a history for the bad feeling, right? When to compromise, when the goal is important but not worth, right? When two opponent are equal power, strongly committed to mutually conclusive, exclusive goals. When temporary excellence needed to complete the issue. When experienced solution are needed under the time of pressure, as backup when collaborative and competition fail. Negative consequences in company, eventually being surrounded by the yes people, mind it. You are always surrounded by the yes people. Don't allow them, the yes people, because they should criticize you. Fear and admitting error, ignorance or uncertainty, reduced communication, damage relationship, lack of commitment to the other, more effort during the implementation of the sale of the solution. Negative things, too much spend the investigation issue, ineffective decision and limited knowledge of the situation, unfounded assumption about the trust. No one can completely satisfied. That's the thing. You cannot satisfy everyone in the world. Solution tended to be short-lived. Cynical climate, perception of the both parties, sell out. Large issues, principle, long-term valuation, and the welfare of the company can be lost by focusing a trivia or practicality of the implementation. Decision that you can make default, unresolved issues, self-doubt, created through the lack of esteem, creative input lost, lack of credibility, Anger and hostility generate the subsequent discussions. That's the problem. Sometimes we're going to in the meeting. Decrease influence, respect and recognition, too much difference. Laxity in discipline, frustration as one need not to meet, self-esteem determined, best solution to it. Conflict control, how you, important for the managers and that leader also. Use avoidance to ignore the issues. Use accommodative style to allow other persons to resolve the issues. Structure for the interaction so triggering event is likely to occur. Strengthen the barrier that inhibits expressive conflict. Avoid the dealing with the persons who want to whom you are in conflict. Step for confronting conflict. Explain the situation that you see. Describe how affect your performance and the performance of other. Ask the viewpoint explained. Agree on the issues independent of the personalities. Explore, discuss issues with your reference the problem. Agree on what persons do resolve. To agree the problem. If there is no agreement, discuss some of the more issues. Explore the solution. Agree what upon the solve to the problem. There are some issues. Brainstorming process. You can also brainstorm, the group, everyone to involve, call out the ideas of type, build your ideas, no idea too trivial or silly. There should be no criticism, judging of any ideas. Get many ideas as possible in time, objective, solve the problem and enjoy doing it. Identify the issue for rapidly, reach consciousness and most important issues rapidly, determine the possible issue, solve the problem, agree on the who does what. It's very important. Get a commitment, sell the process. Synergetic best, something like that. Listening to each other, supporting the report, differing the thinking, and participating in the equal group. Rational thinking, rational processing. Effective decision is quality into acceptance. That's better. Lack of agreement regarding the decision place acceptance of the decision and executing jeopardize. Survival exercise, there is a synergic decision. There is also some item and synergic decision. I am making a hurry because I have taken a lot of time, and it is, that knowledge, skill, and attitude, you can put it this way, in theoretical way, you'll get a peak in a particular time, which is completely based on the knowledge, skill, and attitude, and ultimately you will get in the higher thing, work life and vocational education training, higher education master's level, higher education level, secondary level, primary level, preschool level, because 2021 and we have to adapt ourselves for the military approach. No postgraduate degree will be there. You have to give five tier of teaching, and after 1 year they get a certificate, 2 years get they have to go a course and do this thing. There are something important, impact, environmental impact, entrepreneur, the need value, the environmental impact, and the enterprisal process, something like that. In last end, the boss versus leader. What do you want to be, boss or leader? Inspiring the fear, say I. The breakdown. How is done? Use people, take credit, comment, say go. Very important. Leader, coach them on goodwill, generate enthusiasm, says we, fix the breakdown, show that it can be done, develop the people, give the credit, ask what's the problem, and say, let us go. The boss will say go, but leaders will say, let us go. That's a you watching it, and the students can think a lot of things what I have given to you, and new ideas or something like that. I don't know whether I have convinced you or not. Thanking you for that particularly that for your kind patience that you allow me, because I am not a manager. I have never read MBA, but in my course of work I learn a lot of experiences, and I just visualize in front of you. Thanking you. If there is any question, I'll be delighted to give the answer.
Thank you, sir. We are really grateful to you that we have been enlightened with such a speed between a leader and a manager. So we, the teacher, actually will play the effective role of a leader to enlighten the path of our students. So next, I am very much conveying my gratitude and thanks to you, sir. So next, I take the opportunity to invite Professor Dr. Ashok Ranjan Thakur, who is the Vice Chancellor of Sister Nivedita University.
Uh,
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Day, I
Yes.
think we have already run out of time.
Okay,
It
sir.
is 7:15.
I could
And firstly, I would like to know exactly how many minutes can you tolerate me?
No,
Or
sir.
the students can. No, because this is very serious. In any gathering, there has to be a time frame within which the faculty members must be addressed. So may I get about 5 to 10 minutes?
No, sir.
I'll
More than
restrict
that.
myself to that. I can understand your constraints.
No,
So
sir. Nothing.
at the outset, I must thank the organizers, especially the principal and yourself as moderator, and Mr. Manoj Thakur, who is a very good friend of mine, and the Kolkata Cost and Account Management team led by the President Chaba. Uh, to the students, I will tell you that having listened to almost all the aspects, uh, I would start with a simple thing that I was taught when I first moved into administration from being a teacher. Because the kind of excerpt that was given in my against my name starts with a vice chancellorship. I happen to be going have gone through those things, but prior to that, I was a teacher in Calcutta University, and I joined the Department of Physics. I remember one of my colleague told me that, when you walk up the steps of this building, kindly remember that Professor S.N. Bose and Professor Meghnad Shah also went up these stairs. So you should know your position in life, that you have been privileged enough to reach this stage of walking the same stairs. The reason I'm telling you is that although I did study physics, I soon moved to biology, which frankly speaking, I used to hate. But there lies a tale that we specialize on a particular subject, but later on, while application comes our ways, we begin to pick up other areas of knowledge as well. And there are two different ways of picking up knowledge. One is to acquire it yourself and try to make sure that the problem in hand can be handled with your repertoire of knowledge. The other thing is to gather people who would know it. In fact, this is brilliantly exposed by the statement that when Einstein was asked that, do you know this thing? Uh, he said, or it could be anyone else of eminent stature, that no, I may not know that particular knowledge, but I know the persons who know that. So in a management class, I think it is much more essential for the manager to know the people who would have the specialized knowledge and to get them together so that they can work together. In fact, one of the most misunderstood word that I was taught uh, is the word administrator. Normally, administrator kind of rhymes or becomes synonymous with somebody who looks down on the entire organization and manages it. But if you look at the etymology of the word, to administer means to help. So if you can get back to that as a manager, I need to help people to give their best in solving a critical problem, it becomes a much better feasible solution. Now, the only reason you are able to do it is quite often not the subject knowledge that you have acquired, which is quite necessary, but also the ability to cull knowledge from other areas, which could be the adjacent areas, and which will help you to do some out of the box thinking, or what is called lateral thinking. And that is where creativity or innovativeness lies. I'll give you a concrete example. In fact, two, and then I'll stop. The first one is very recently in a YouTube, I saw that in China, they are now building long distance highways which crisscrosses mountains. Now, up to now, the entire engineering concept was that you push through the mountain, you blast a hole, you create a tunnel, you go through the mountain and reach the other side. What the Chinese have been doing now is to build the road on stilts, which is by the side of the mountain, but does not go along with the mountain. The reason is very simple. Because if the road goes along the mountain, in case of a landslide, the entire route gets blocked. Even the ability to repair gets delayed. But if it is built on a stilt, which runs parallel, then no landslide is going to stop the track from being open, and may actually be the only way to help people to reach the spot and make sure that the damage is undone. Now, you can always think that if this was a simple solution, why couldn't the earlier people think about that? Again, the reason is the ability to build stilts strong enough, hardy enough, required processing of material science and other things which had to evolve over the decades. And only when these knowledges were put together could this kind of approach to solving the problem come through. The second one touches us today. The moment you tune in the TV, you would see, besides the election results and election nearing process and other things, other than that, the COVID situation, the number of deaths, the lack of oxygen and other things. Professor Roy has already talked a little bit about the COVID, so I'm not going to repeat that. But there is one thing that I can tell you. Having worked in biology for the last almost 40 years of my life, that one of the best books in science that ever came through was Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. And why do we say that? Because in that, Charles Darwin showed that essentially it is the more adaptable of the species which survives. So the basic selection process in nature is the ability to adapt to a new situation. Viruses become harmful to us because we have not been able to adapt to their predatory nature within our system. But then we prepare vaccines to block their growth. We prepare diagnostic kit to detect whether they have arrived, and we prepare therapeutical drugs to counter their bad effects on our metabolism. These are the three ways we are trying to solve the problem right now. However, one must also remember that the virus in its own life form would also like to survive. So it will like to adapt. And the way it adapts is by changing itself. So that creates a new challenge for you. So this is a kind of battle that goes on. Sometimes it flares up. Of course, it's terrible to know that more than 31 million people or so have died during this pandemic, and more might do so. It is terrible to know that it has ground to a hold our economy. It is terrible to know that we are becoming claustrophobic. There are psychological stresses put on our society, which is unimaginable. But then we must also learn how to live with all these things. And quite often, the promises made are based on a narrow knowledge, and that can prove to be our undoing. So, one of the reasons that people die is inability to take in oxygen. That is fairly well known. And one of our problem right now is the supply of oxygen. I was just reading a blurb which said that in this country, we produce a large amount of steel, and most of the steel making factories have industrial oxygen plant inbuilt. Almost 99% of that oxygen produced is used for making steel. Only 1 to 1.5% is diverted for medical usage, which requires lesser percentage concentration of oxygen. So one of the things that perhaps should have been done was to think of how to raise that 1.5% to 5%, and that would have immediately helped. But then comes two other bottlenecks. One is how to transport it. And that transport of oxygen cylinder costs about, the cylinder itself costs 212,000 rupees, when the price of oxygen in it is not more than 300. So there is a cost effectiveness over there, which needed ironing out. All this needed meticulous supply chain problem. So you see, the crisis of oxygen ultimately goes down to a management problem which needed to be addressed at an earlier stage. And because we failed to do so, now we see a socially catastrophic event of seeing large number of dead bodies lying besides the crematorium and being flashed over a BBC newscast or so, which certainly none of us like to see. So, because the time is short, I would end here. But my only request to you would be, in terms of learning, one needs to have a much broader understanding than we are normally told to do so. That is a tunnel vision which comes in the way of creativity. Creativity comes only when you are able to think out of the box. You are able to think, bring in ideas from elsewhere. And management certainly needs encouragement by having a group activity rather than one superman or superwoman solving all the problem. If we can work together where each one of us contribute what we can do best and pool our knowledge together, then only we can overcome the problem and get to a solution. It is easily said than done, because most of us are being bred through a very bad rat race. Because we have been told that if someone gets 97 and you get 95, then you have failed in your life. I think that is the worst feature of our present academic system. I once had a teacher who used to evaluate papers differently from others. I followed him, but I could not make most of my colleagues believe in that. The process is very simple. You get the answer scripts together, you find out what is the best paper, mark it at the 100% level, and mark down everybody else. The reason is, instead of looking for an absolute truth in the answer, no matter how good your lecture had been, how brilliantly you had culled together your knowledge, when you are trying to deliver, it is the recipient who is receiving. And if he or she does not reach that standard, and you are trying to evaluate him or her on the basis of the absoluteness, maybe you are being unfair. It is much better to look at what delivered was perceived by the entire class at a level and to grade them accordingly. It is much better to grade somebody A, B, or C rather than give a 79.5 and 77.5 and decide that that is the guy who stood first. Because if you look at real life, you'd find that at the end of the day, 10 years after you have obtained your certificate, no one will look at your mark sheet. All that they would look at is how did you spend the next 10 years in employing whatever you learned in order to facilitate other people. The teachers are, that's why, no longer called teachers, they are called facilitators. With that, I hope that you have a very enjoyable teaching career in your life. Just like me, I was not a great teacher or a good teacher, but I certainly enjoyed being with my students all the time. Thank you all, and thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us to be a good facilitator, which has shown us new direction of our teaching career. And we will definitely look into this to be a facilitator, not to be a teacher. Okay, sir. And now we have come to the end of the session. Now I am requesting and taking the opportunity to inviting CMA, Mr. Manas Kumar Thakur, for sum up and vote of thanks. He was the former president of Institute of Cost Accountants of India, set up under the Act of Parliament in the year 2016-17. He was the senior partner of Thakur and Company and secretary of Kolkata Cost and Management Society and author of 5 cost and management books. So, sir, we are giving a warm welcome to take the dais and share your views. Sir, you are mute. Sir, you are mute.
Thank you. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
As we are running late, so just a few minutes I will spare. This is my duty to give a big thank or a vote of thanks to the panelists or others. Rather, I feel proud the panelists are exclusive and unique, and I believe all the teachers learn a lot from the 4 exclusive panelists like Mr. Ajay Kumar Roy, Mr. Bishwajit Ghosh, Mr. Panda, Mr. Ashok Ranjan Thakur. They covered all of things, motivation to academics, to research and leadership, how the teacher will deliver for their future generation. So nothing to elaborate. They are exclusive and they are unique for their area. And other than 4 panelists, Mr. R.K. Patro is my good friend Mr. Srihari Chawa, President of the Kolkata Cost Management Society, they have also elaborated for the faculties how they deal with the students. My only submission to the all faculties or teachers, the duty of teachers, not only for the certificate or the qualification, how they develop the morality, human sense, proper behavior, ethics, it should look up. This is the primary and major things to look out. So this is my request. Other than the educational certificate, teachers or faculty member should think how they deliver to the students as they are their future leader, as they are the future generation of the society. I'm sure all faculties, all teachers learned a lot from today's discussion, though it is half an hour late. But if we just go back, this is not late. We learned 30 minutes extra knowledge. That's why late. This is no wastage of time. All the expert panelists gave their idea, their last 50, 60 years experience. So this is not late. I believe 30 minutes. All teachers and faculties gain some extra motivational ideas. Thanks a lot. Not only our faculty member and Mr. Patro and Srihari Chawa, other than the panelist and the board member, those who are directly, indirectly helps a lot to successful the program. Hats off to them. Sincere thanks to all of you, and I'm sure this type of program will arrange again and again for the students and for the faculty members. Our target, how the society will be built up, how the society, the capacity of the society will develop. Thanks a lot. Thanking you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very much grateful to all our distinguished speakers and guests who has give their valuable time and give us valuable speech. And that's why we are looking forward to hear more from them in near future. With that expectations, we are ending our program. So it is an earnest request to everyone that at the end of the program, we want to end it with our national anthem. It will be very helpful for us, or we can say we can show our gratitude by standing for the national anthem. Thank you so much.
जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. We will expect you in our future. So this is the end of the session. Manas, sir, if you want to say something.